Number one, decide exactly what you want in every key area of your life. This will immediately set you apart from 80 or 90% of the population. The most important word that I have found in success is clarity. Clarity, clarity. Successful people are very clear about what they want. And here's an interesting discovery. The greater clarity you have, the faster you draw into your life the resources necessary to achieve it. So in determining what you want, there's an activity that I teach to the senior executives of billion-dollar corporations, and it's called idealization. So you start off by idealizing your perfect life. You imagine that there are no limitations on what you can do or be or have. Imagine that you have all the time and all the money. You have all the friends and all the contacts, all the education and all the experience that you need to accomplish any goal that you could set for yourself. Imagine that you could wave a magic wand and make your life perfect in each of the 4 key areas of life. If your life was perfect in every area, what would it look like? Now here's the point before we go into the 4 areas. The fear of not achieving your goal, what we call self-limiting beliefs, holds you back more than anything else. And your self-limiting beliefs are not based on reality. That's why you have to constantly think, if I had no limitations, what goals would I set for myself? So let's start with the 4 big areas. The first area has to do with your income and your business and your career. Project forward 5 years. If your income, business, career was perfect 5 years from now, what would it look like? How would it be different from today? How much would you be earning? What kind of work would you be doing? Who would you be working with? What position would you have in your business? We call this the creation of a 5-year fantasy. Just fantasize like a child prior to Christmas. Just imagine that you could create your world perfectly, and what would it look like? And then here's the key question. What would you have to do? What would have to happen? What would be the first step that you would have to take today to begin creating your perfect business and career future? If your goal is to double and triple your income, what is the first step that you would have to take right now? And here's a great discovery. Everybody knows the first step. The first step is clear. Confucius said, a journey of 1,000 leagues begins with a single step. The fact is, the hardest part of success is taking the first step in the direction that you want to go. Remember that. That's what holds most people back. Now, the second area has to do with your family and your relationships. If you could project forward 5 years and your life was perfect, what kind of relationships would you have? What kind of lifestyle would you have? Where would you live? What would you want to do on vacations? What would you want to create for yourself and your family? And remember, clarity is important. Then come back to the present and think into the future and say, what would have to happen starting today for me to create that perfect future? And what would be the first step? The third area has to do with your health. If your health was perfect in every way, sometime in the future, how would it be different from today? How much would you weigh? How much would you exercise? What much energy would you have? How much time would you take off to rest? If your personal life and health and energy was perfect in every way, how would it be different from today? And what would have to happen to make that come true? And what would be your first step? Now, the last area has to do with your net worth, what we call financial freedom. How much do you want to be able to save and accumulate in the course of your working lifetime? Remember this, your likelihood of achieving your lifelong financial goals increased by 10 times by the very act of writing the number down on a piece of paper. This is so important. Now, here's an exercise for you. It's called the quick list method. What you do is you write down 3 goals that you'd like to accomplish in the foreseeable future. You write them down in less than 30 seconds without taking any time to think. You write down your 3 most important goals in life right now. Now, whatever you write down will be an accurate picture of what you really want in your life right now. when you only have 30 seconds to write down 3 goals, your answers will be as accurate as if you had 30 minutes or 3 hours. This is a wonderful exercise for you to engage in. And with our students, we take them through this quick list method, this 3-goal exercise in every area of their life. Their family, their income, their business, their customers, products, services, markets, sales. We just write down the 3. But in your case, just write down your 3 most important goals in life and write them down quickly and then look at them, and sometimes you'll be surprised. Now, in goal setting, the next stage, number 2, is to write it down. Remember we talked about clarity? Francis Bacon once says that writing maketh an exact man. Is when you write your goals down clearly, they take on a power of their own in your mind. You pull them out of the air where they have no substance at all, and you write them down on paper, and now you have something you can touch. Your goals must be in writing. Many people say, oh, I know exactly what I want. And I've met and worked with these people over the years, and you know something? They're almost all failures. They say, oh, I know what I want. I don't have to write it down. Yes, you do, because until you start writing, we find that there's an incredible connection between the head and the hand. And when you start to write goals, you'll be absolutely astonished what comes out on the paper. And when you write a goal down, you engage in what is called a psychoneuromotor activity. You activate your visual powers, your audio powers, and your kinesthetic powers. And whatever you write down, you actually program straight into your subconscious mind, where it starts to work 24 hours a day. Great stuff, let me tell you. Now, your goals must be clear, specific, detailed, and measurable. You must write out your goals as if you were placing an order for your goal to be manufactured in a factory at a great distance. And what they would do is they would create your goal, your order, and send it to you exactly as you wrote it down. Albert Einstein said that your goal must be so clear that a 6-year-old child could understand it clearly and explain it to another 6-year-old child and be able to tell you if you had achieved your goal or how close you were. This is why you never say, well, my goal is to be happy, and my goal is to be rich, and my goal is to be popular and meet the right person. These are not goals. These are fantasies. They are wishes. Even crazy people have these wishes. A goal is something that is written down and specific and clear, and your most important goal must be measurable so you know exactly where you are relative to the goal. Now, only 3% of adults have written goals worldwide, and everybody else works for them. In fact, the studies done at Yale and Harvard proved over a 20-30-year period that people with written goals ended up earning and having a net worth 10 times greater than people without goals, holding constant for intelligence, grades, graduation from courses, industries, marital status, and parts of the country. The people who started with goals were 10 times more likely to be successful and were worth 10 times more than the others in the course of a few years. Goal setting is really great. Now, number 3, set a deadline. Set a deadline, and then if necessary, set sub-deadlines on your goal. For example, if you set a 12-month goal to double your income, then you break it down into 9 months, 6 months, 3 months, and then 2 months, 1 month. And then if you're really smart, week by week by week, and some people even break their goals down into daily activities. If it's a 20-year goal, break it down into 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 3 months, and then 1 month. The more you break your goal down, the more likely it is you will achieve it. And then you complete your big goal one step at a time. Now, your subconscious mind uses deadlines as forcing systems. They drive you consciously and unconsciously toward achieving your goal on schedule. Anais Nin once said that your subconscious can work against you because when you set a big goal, you're disrupting your subconscious. So your subconscious mind will tell you that it's not possible and will attempt to sabotage you. And you know the way your subconscious mind sabotages you? It tells you, you can't achieve this goal. You don't need to write it down. It's okay, as long as you know what it is. Because of the fear of failure, what you do is you don't write the goal down, and that way you can't fail. Isn't that clever? And people say, well, if you don't expect anything good, you'll never be disappointed. and these people have no future. You write it down as if by writing it down it was guaranteed to you. And in many cases it will be if you write it down. If your goal is big enough, set sub-deadlines. If you want to achieve financial independence, you may set a 10 or 20-year goal and then break it down year by year so that you know how much you have to save and invest each year. If for some reason you don't achieve your goal by the deadline, simply set a new deadline. There are no unreasonable goals, only unreasonable deadlines. And other things can happen that you hadn't expected that will put your deadlines off. Don't worry about it. Just set a new deadline and go back to work. Now, the fourth key in the 12-step method is to identify the obstacles that you'll have to overcome to achieve your goal. You see, between you and any goal that you want to accomplish, there are obstacles. There's something that's holding you back, or you'd already be there. So always ask this question: why aren't you already at your goal? Sometimes I ask people, would you like to double your income? And they say, of course. I said, well, why isn't your income already twice as high? You've been working for years and years. You're smart, you're talented, you're surrounded with opportunities. Some people that you know are earning twice as much as you. Why aren't you? And you know what happens is the first thing you think of are your favorite excuses. Oh, I'm so busy, or I didn't finish high school, or I didn't go to college, or I'm working in the wrong industry. You know, these are just excuses. They're not true, but they're ways that you step on your own brakes and hold yourself back. Now, there's a very powerful principle called the principle of constraints. This principle of constraints is, I think, revolutionary. And what it says is that there's always one limiting factor or constraint or bottleneck between you and your goal that sets the speed at which you achieve your goal. So the question is, once you're clear about your goal, and let's say it's a financial goal, is what is the bottleneck that holds you back? For example, I will say to a company, what is your goal? Well, it's to grow in sales and profitability. What's the constraint? More sales. If you had more sales, would you achieve the goal? Yes. So what is the constraint behind that? Better trained salespeople. Maybe it's better products and services. Maybe it's better pricing. Maybe it's new markets. But keep asking, what's holding you back? What sets the speed? Now, the 80-20 rule applies to constraints. Fully 80% of the reasons that are holding you back from achieving your goal are inside yourself. They're not on the outside. Average people always blame their problems on external circumstances. Top people look inside themselves. The things that are holding you back are usually the lack of a skill, the lack of a quality like self-discipline, or the lack of a particular knowledge or skill, all of which you can learn or acquire. Only 20% of the reasons you are not achieving your goals are on the outside, so always start with yourself. Now, the fifth key is to identify the knowledge, information, and skills you will need to achieve your goal. Remember, to achieve a goal that you've never achieved before, you're going to have to learn things and do things you've never done before. You cannot achieve anything more than you're achieving today with the same level of knowledge and skill that you have today. If you could, you'd already have done it. So identify the skills that you'll have to develop to be in the top 10% of your field. Identify the most important skill, and then identify the number one skill. Now, here's a great discovery. Your weakest key skill sets the height of your income and your success. Your weakest key skill. And improving or bringing up that one weak skill or acquiring that one weak skill will enable you to make more progress than any other factor at the moment. You can make more progress by going to work on the one skill that is holding you back more than any other factor. So ask this question: what one key skill, if you developed and did it in an excellent fashion, would have the greatest positive impact on your life? What one skill, if you developed and did it consistently in an excellent fashion, would help you the most to achieve your most important goal? Whatever the skill, write it down, make a plan, and work on it every day. Sometimes your major goal is the development of the skill necessary to achieve your major goal. And this is a life-changing insight, by the way. Number 6, identify the people whose help and cooperation you will require to achieve your goal. Remember, nobody does it alone unless you run a shoe shine stand or deliver papers. To be successful, you need the help of lots of people. So identify the people whose help and cooperation you'll require to achieve your goal. Who are they? Make a list of every person in your life that you'll have to work with or work around to achieve your goal. Start with the members of your family whose cooperation and support you will require, especially your spouse. List your boss and co-workers and subordinates, because you'll have to work with them and they'll have to work with you to be successful. Especially identify the customers and people on the outside whose support you will need to sell enough of your product or service to make the kind of money that you want. Once you've identified the key people whose help you will require, ask yourself this question: what's in it for them? Be a go-giver rather than a go-getter. Now, to achieve big goals, you'll have to have the help and support of lots of people. One key person at a certain time and place in your life can make all the difference. The most successful people are those who build and maintain the largest networks of other people whom they can help and who can help them in return. This is another whole subject, but here's what we've discovered. The more people you know and who know you in a positive way, the more successful you'll be in virtually every part of your life. It's an amazing discovery. Number 7, make a list of everything you will have to do to achieve your goal. We say that writing out a list transforms your thinking in the most positive and powerful way. Combine the skills that you'll need, the people that help you'll need, the obstacles you'll have to overcome, and write them down and list every single step that you can think of to achieve your goal. Determine the amount of time and or money it will take to achieve your goal. Do you have the resources you need? If you don't, how can you acquire them? Remember, successful people are always thinking, how can I assemble all the resources I need to achieve what I want to achieve? Combine the obstacles that you'll have to overcome, the knowledge and skills you'll have to develop, and the people whose cooperation you'll have to require into this list. List every single step that you can think of that you'll have to follow to ultimately achieve your goal. And as you think of new items, add them to your list until your list is complete. It's interesting, Napoleon Hill said that the writing out of a list of the steps is what changes your life. What we also found was this, is that if you make a checklist of everything you have to do from the beginning to the end, it'll increase the likelihood of achieving your goal by probably 10 times. When you make out a list of all the things you'll need to do to achieve your goal, you'll begin to see that this goal is far more attainable than you thought. What you'll see is what was a fantasy before starts to become a reality. The more things you write down, the more you think, well, I could do this, and I could do that, and I could do this and this. And it starts to occur to you that doubling or tripling your income, becoming financially independent, hey, I could do this. Like Annie in the movie, in the play, I could do that. I could do that. Henry Ford once said that anything can be accomplished if you break it down into enough small steps. As I said before, Confucius said a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You can build the biggest wall in the world, one brick at a time. Now, number 8, and this is really important, this is what requires thought and judgment and foresight on your part. Number 8 is to organize your list into a plan. First, organize your list by sequence. That means, what do you have to do before you can do something else? What is the order of steps, like the checklist I talked about? Next, organize your list by priority. What is more important and what is less important? Remember the 80-20 rule. 80% of your results will come from 20% of your activities, from the things you do. The 20-80 rule also says that the first 20% of time that you spend planning your goal, organizing your plan, will be worth 80% of the time and effort required to achieve the goal in the final analysis. Planning is very important. Number 9, make a plan. Organize your list into a series of steps from beginning to end, from start all the way through to the completion of your goal. When you have a goal and a plan, you increase the likelihood of achieving your goals, as I said, by 10 times, by 1,000%. There's a rule that says every minute spent in planning saves 10 minutes in execution or carrying out the plan. So, be a planner and think on paper. Think on paper. Plan each day, each week, and each month in advance. All successful people plan in advance, which gives them a chance to think through what might happen and what they could do to either make it better or to avoid danger. Plan each month at the beginning of the month. Lay out the 30 days and work out what you're going to do each day of the month, just generally speaking. Plan each week the weekend before. I met a very successful person some years ago, and he told me what changed his life after he started his first job was his manager sat down with him and invited him over to his house on a Sunday afternoon and said, "I'm going to teach you how to plan your week." And he was quite surprised because he was used to using the weekend just hang out, play around. This very successful manager taught him how to plan his week in advance. He said that contributed more to his success than any other piece of advice he ever got. Plan each day the night before. Make a list of everything you have to do the following day before you go to sleep. The wonderful thing is that your subconscious mind can work on those items all night long, and when you wake up in the morning, you'll have all kinds of ideas and insights on how to complete the tasks and achieve the goals that you wrote down. Remember, the more careful and detailed you are when you plan your activities, the more you'll accomplish in less time. Number 10, select your number one most important task for each day. This is the key to time management. Set priorities on your tasks and always work on the most important one first. Set priorities on your list using the 80-20 rule. Ask yourself this question: if I could only do one thing on this list before I was called out of town for a month, which one activity would I want to be sure to complete? And that becomes the task that you start on before anything else. Whatever you answer to that question, put a number one next to that activity. Then, as you're analyzing your list and setting priorities, you ask, if I could only do one other task on this list, which one task would be the most valuable use of my time? Then write a number 2 next to that task. Keep asking this question: what is the most valuable use of my time on this list? Until you have your 7 top tasks organized by sequence and priority. Here's another question that you can ask. If I could only do one thing all day long, which one activity would contribute the most value to my work and to my goals? You see, focus and concentration are the keys to success. Focus means that you are clear about exactly what it is that you want to accomplish, and concentration requires that you dedicate yourself to doing only those things that move you toward your most important goal. Number 11, and this is the biggie, develop the habit of self-discipline. There seems to be a direct relationship between self-discipline and success in every part of life. The number one reason that people don't succeed is because they can't discipline themselves to do the planning and preparation and then the hard work necessary. So how do you discipline yourself? You make a list of everything you have to do during the day, you set priorities on your list, and then you start on your most important task first thing and discipline yourself to keep working. Once you've decided on your most important task, resolve to concentrate single-mindedly on that one task until it's 100% complete. In time management, we call this single-handling, and single-handling will increase your productivity by as much as 500%. It is a key practice of all top people. Your ability to select your most important task and then to work on it single-mindedly without diversion or distraction will double and triple and even 5 times the quality and quantity of your output, your productivity, and eventually your income. This is one of the most powerful of all time management techniques. This means that when you start with a task, you don't do anything else until that task is complete. Once you've developed the habit of completing your tasks, you will earn 2 and 3 and even 5 times as much as other people. Now here's an interesting discovery. Self-esteem comes from task completion. Whenever you start and finish a task, it gives you a burst of endorphin. You feel like a winner. You feel happy. You have more energy and more motivation. Task completion motivates you to complete more tasks. And the bigger the task that you complete, the happier you feel and the more motivated you are to complete even bigger tasks. This is one of the great secrets of success known by top people. Step number 12 is to practice visualization on your goals. How do you practice visualization? You create clear, vivid, exciting, emotional pictures of your goals as if they were already a reality. See your goal as if it were already achieved. Imagine yourself enjoying the accomplishment of the goal. If it's a car, imagine yourself driving this car. In fact, go down and test drive the perfect car for you. Get a feeling for it, smell it, take a picture next to it. Take a picture of yourself being in the driver's seat of the car that you want to own and look at that picture on a regular basis. If it's a vacation that you want, see yourself on the vacation already. Get pictures from the brochure. Put the pictures around your house. If it's a beautiful home that you want, see yourself living in a beautiful home. Here's one of the great characteristics or techniques of getting a beautiful home is start going to open houses in expensive neighborhoods. My wife and I started doing this when we were young with very little money. And within a couple of years, we were in a beautiful home and then another beautiful home. When you walk through beautiful homes that are for sale, you start to get an unconscious picture of a composite of the beautiful home that you want for yourself. And you start to attract into your life possibilities to achieve that home. What we attracted was opportunities to earn more money so that within a couple of years we could afford the home that we were visualizing. Now in visualizing, take a few moments to create the emotions that would accompany the successful achievement of your goal. We say, get the feeling. If you would be proud and happy, feel being proud and happy. Now, what we've learned is a mental picture combined with an emotion has an enormous impact on your subconscious and your superconscious mind. It activates the law of attraction. It draws into your life people and circumstances to make it possible. A picture combined with an emotion is electricity that sends out a force field of energy from you that attracts everything you need to make that picture a reality. Visualization is perhaps the most powerful faculty available to you to help you achieve your goals faster than you ever thought possible. When you use a combination of clear goals combined with visualization and emotionalization, you activate your superconscious mind. Your superconscious mind then solves every problem on the way to your goal. Your superconscious mind is perhaps the most powerful faculty that you have available to you, and it is activated by a clear goal for which you have a burning desire. Your superconscious mind activates the law of attraction and begins attracting into your life people and circumstances and ideas and resources that will help you to achieve your goals even faster. The fact is that you have enormous untapped potential. You could be earning 3, 5, maybe 10 times what you're earning today in the years ahead. You could probably accomplish all the goals that you can set for yourself. Here's an interesting discovery. It's not possible for you to set a goal, to write it down, and to make a plan for its accomplishment without your having simultaneously the ability to achieve it in some way, somehow, through some method. So the most important responsibility you have is setting goals in the first place. Goal achieving seems to be automatic. It's the goal setting that you are responsible for. The incredible thing about goals mastery is that it's really life mastery. And the sooner you begin to develop successful habits, the sooner you'll reap the financial, personal, and professional rewards that go along with them. That's why I've created my brand new Goals Mastery for Personal and Financial Success course. This 12-part video training program, complete with my goal setting and achieving workbook, will be your guide to transforming your life in 90 days or less. I'll teach you my step-by-step process for how to clearly identify roadblocks and easily overcome any obstacle by using special techniques of creativity. You'll also learn how to set achievable goals, how to track your progress as you move forward in achieving them, and most importantly, how to achieve them so you can finish what you start. You can achieve your goals every time. Additionally, I'm giving you both physical and digital copies of my Power of Personal Achievement 3-day seminar on DVD. This transformational seminar event has helped thousands of people to realize their full potential, to perform at their highest level, and experience complete life fulfillment. Live event attendees have paid $1,997 for a single person to attend. And the best part is that for a limited time you get both my brand new Goals Mastery course and my Power of Personal Achievement 3-day seminar on DVD for the price of one. But this offer won't be available for long. So you have 3 options. 1, you can do nothing and continue treading water, frustrated and not moving forward and not achieving your goals as fast as you want. Or number 2, you can try to figure it out on your own with no proven system or strategy to guide you, which is the primary reason why people underachieve and fail. Or number 3, you can put my 30 years of research, knowledge, and experience to use by implementing my proven model for achievement and success, saving you thousands of dollars and countless hours of frustration. The choice is yours, but remember, Goals Mastery is really life mastery. The sooner you learn how to develop these skills, the sooner you'll reap the financial, personal, and professional rewards that go with it. So stop treading water and take action now. Order my Goals Mastery for Personal and Financial Success course today.